I was never afraid of the dark as a kid. That changed the night I followed an alley that shouldn't have been there. It was early October when this happened. The air had that sharp, dry chill to it, the kind that makes every sound feel louder. My parents had sent me to take out the trash just before bed. It was around 8:30 p.m, not late, but late enough that the streetlights had already turned on. Our apartment complex was old, cracked concrete, faded paint, and behind it was a narrow space that most people avoided, a service passage used by maintenance workers. I had walked past it hundreds of times but never down it. That night, something felt off. As I dragged the trash bag toward the dumpster, I noticed the passage looked longer than usual. The shadows stretched deeper than I remembered, and the air coming from it felt colder, unnaturally cold. I dropped the trash and turned to leave. That's when I heard footsteps. Not behind me, ahead of me. Slow, heavy, deliberate. I froze. A tall figure stood at the far end of the passage, directly under a flickering light. I couldn't see its face, only its outline. Its posture was wrong. Too straight, too still. I told myself it was just someone standing there, until it waved. Not a friendly wave, just a slow lift of the hand and a bend of the fingers. I ran. I didn't stop until I slammed my apartment door shut behind me. I told my dad what happened. He grabbed a flashlight and went to look. The passage was gone. Where it should have been was a solid brick wall, aged, dusty, like it had been there for decades. To this day, I don't know where I almost walked into. When I was 12, I stayed late at school every Thursday for tutoring. Most kids were gone by then. The halls felt hollow, like the building itself was holding its breath. One October afternoon, I noticed someone standing outside the classroom window. At first, I thought it was a reflection. But reflections don't blink. The figure stood just beyond the glass, completely still, staring directly at me. I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman. Their face looked pale, too pale, and their eyes were dark like holes. I raised my hand slowly. They didn't move. The teacher noticed I was distracted and asked what was wrong. When she turned toward the window, the figure was gone. I assumed I imagined it. Until the next week. Same time. Same spot. This time, the figure was closer. Its face pressed almost against the glass, leaving fog where it breathed. The teacher saw it too. She locked the door, pulled the blinds, and called security. No one was found. But when the janitor checked the outside wall, there were muddy footprints leading up to the window. There was no ground beneath it. I grew up near farmland, where the nights are silent in a way that feels heavy. Every October, I walked my dog down a dirt road that cut between empty fields and an abandoned medical building. One night, my dog refused to move. She stood frozen, hair raised, staring toward the old building. That's when I saw him. A man in a long white coat stood near the entrance, hands folded in front of him. He wasn't looking at me. He was listening. His head tilted slightly, like he could hear something I couldn't. I whispered my dog's name and pulled the leash. The man turned his head sharply toward me. His face was wrong. Smooth, pale, featureless, except for two deep, dark eye sockets. I ran. Sirens woke me later that night. The building burned to the ground. Firefighters found no evidence of squatters. But one of them quietly told my father something strange. They found footprints inside the building, leading in circles. Everyone loves pumpkin patches in October. Families, kids, laughter. There was one rule posted at the entrance of ours: do not enter the wooded area. My friends dared me to. The trees swallowed sound. The air felt thick, like breathing through cloth. That's when I saw it. Something standing among the pumpkins, not quite human. Too tall, too thin, wearing what looked like a costume, but moving like it was part of the ground itself. It didn't walk. It slid. Every time I blinked, it was closer. I ran back toward the crowd, my heart pounding so hard I thought I'd pass out. When I turned around one last time, it stood at the tree line, watching. Later that week, someone posted online about a performer acting strange in the same patch. The owners denied having performers. They shut down early that season. On Halloween night, I heard scratching at my window. I lived on the second floor. When I pulled the curtain back, something stood on the fire escape, smiling. Not a happy smile. A stretched, unmoving one. I screamed. My parents came running. Nothing was there. But the next morning, there were handprints on the glass. They were on the outside. October doesn't just bring costumes and candy. It brings shadows that feel closer, silences that feel heavier, and moments you never quite forget. Because sometimes, whatever we see in October isn't pretending.